You know, dams are some of the most massive, ambitious structures we humans build. They literally reshape landscapes, they secure water for millions, and they can generate huge amounts of power. But how do you actually go from just a need for water to this colossal, stable wall of earth and concrete? Well, it's a fascinating process, blending huge-scale engineering with some incredibly detailed environmental and social planning.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the fundamental problem, the water challenge. Then, we'll go on the hunt for the perfect location. After that, we'll dive into the engineering blueprint, consider all the crucial impacts beyond the structure itself, and finally, we'll see how it all gets built, one precise layer at a time.
So, before you even think about pouring concrete, you have to answer the biggest question of all. What problem are we actually trying to solve here? And more, the answer is about managing water, in a world where, honestly, its availability is becoming dangerously unpredictable. To give you a sense of the sheer scale of this challenge, just look at this number from Tanzania's National Irrigation Master Plan. That's 29.4 million hectares of land with a potential for irrigation. Now, unlocking that potential isn't just about growing more food. It's about food security. It's about economic stability for an entire country. That's the kind of massive problem a dam is built to solve.
And this quote right here really gets to the heart of the urgency. Building dams isn't just about expansion anymore. It's a direct response to a changing climate. When rainfall gets erratic, the ability to store water when it's plentiful for those times of drought, well, it becomes absolutely critical for survival.
Okay, so we get it, we need a dam. But you can't just plop one down anywhere. The success of the entire project, literally everything, hinges on finding the perfect spot. And that search is a meticulous, high-stakes game. Think of site selection like a treasure hunt, but for engineers. They're looking for this perfect combo of features: a big, wide, bowl-shaped basin upstream to hold a ton of water, but a nice, narrow valley right at the dam site to keep construction costs down. The geology has to be rock solid, no leaks, no shifting, and super important, you need a safe, natural spot for a spillway to let extra water out. And you can see the difference here, right? It's night and day. A good site works with the landscape. It lets nature do half the work for you. A poor site, on the other hand, fights the landscape every step of the way. And that just leads to a dam that's way more expensive, less efficient, and potentially a lot more dangerous. All right, location, check. Once that's locked in, the project moves from the field to the drawing board. The challenge now is to take all those physical features of the site and translate them into a super precise engineering plan. This is where the geography becomes geometry. The very first calculation, the one everything else is built on, is the catchment yield. It basically answers the question, how much water can we realistically expect to collect here in a typical year? This number, which is based on rainfall data, runoff, and the size of the surrounding land, dictates the entire scale of the project. Next up, engineers define the full supply level, or FSL. The easiest way to think about this? It's the full line on your bathtub. It sets the absolute maximum capacity for the dam during normal operations. If any water goes above that line, it's immediately and safely channeled away by the spillway, which is pretty much the dam's most important safety valve. You know, the earliest dams were pretty simple, basically just a big old pile of the same type of dirt. But today, it's way more sophisticated. A modern zoned embankment is like a carefully engineered sandwich. Each layer, each zone has a very specific job to do, and they all work together to block water and provide incredible structural stability. And every single one of these materials is chosen for a very specific job. Right in the middle, you've got this dense, waterproof clay core. That's your main barrier. The upstream shoulder supports that core and is built to handle being underwater. But the downstream shoulder, the backside, that has to stay dry and stable, so it's made of coarse stuff that lets any water drain away harmlessly. But here's the thing. A blueprint for a dam is about way more than just tons of earth and concrete. Building a dam is a profound change to the environment and to the lives of the people who call that place home. So before any construction can even start, there's a whole other planning process that has to happen.
And that process is the Environmental Impact Assessment, or EIA. This is a huge deal. The whole point isn't just to stop projects, but to make sure that the final decisions are made with a full, eyes-wide-open understanding of all the consequences. It's all about finding that reasonable compromise between development and conservation. And this isn't just some vague idea. It's a really clear step-by-step process. You start by just registering the project. Then it gets screened to see if a full-blown assessment is even necessary.
If it is, you identify the key issues, you bring in the experts for detailed studies, and, this is key, the final report gets reviewed by both a technical committee and the public before anyone makes a final call. And this right here, this checklist is a perfect example of how this process works on the ground. It might look simple, but it's a super powerful tool that forces a systematic approach. It makes planners answer the tough questions right from day one. Is this going to displace people? Will it harm fragile ecosystems? How much land are we actually talking about losing? And this is so important. Getting the public involved isn't just about checking a box. It actually leads to better projects. Local communities, they have invaluable knowledge about the land, about the water. Bringing them into the process early on helps sort out conflicts, it builds trust, and ultimately it just makes the whole project more likely to be a long-term success for everybody. All right, we've got the need, we found the perfect site, the blueprint is done, and we've got the green light. Now for the really fun part, turning all that paper and all those plans into a physical reality. This is where the heavy lifting truly begins. Building one of these earth dams is a science, and it happens in a really specific order. First, you clear the whole site, right down to the foundation. Then comes a critical step. You dig a core trench to lock that waterproof core into solid ground. After that, you build the dam up in these thin, precise layers, and each one gets heavily compacted. Finally, you build the spillway and cover the whole thing in grass to stop erosion. Now, out of all those steps, I want to talk about compaction, because this is arguably the single most critical part of the entire build. The process is relentless. You lay down a loose layer of soil, say about 200 millimeters thick, and then heavy rollers go over it again and again until it's squashed down to 150 millimeters. That intense pressure squeezes out all the air and water, creating this incredibly dense, stable material that gives the whole dam its strength. And what's just wild is that even though you're building this gigantic structure, it all comes down to millimeter-level precision. Just look at these typical tolerances. The overall position of the dam can only be off by about 150 millimeters. Concrete thickness is controlled down to the millimeter. And for any surface that water flows over, any bump can't be more than 5 millimeters high. It's truly a feat of precision engineering. But you know what? The work doesn't stop when the construction crews go home, not even close. Owning a dam is a lifetime commitment. It means annual inspections, it means checks after every single major storm, and it means fixing even the smallest problems right away. And keeping that spillway clear, that's non-negotiable. This constant watchfulness is what keeps a dam safe for generations. And all of this, it brings us right back to that huge central question. Dams are, without a doubt, powerful tools for progress. They can offer water security in a world that's getting more and more uncertain. But that progress always comes with a price, an environmental one and a social one. The real art of designing a dam, then, isn't just about the concrete or the calculations. It's about wisdom. It's about finding the right balance and making sure the benefits we get are truly worth the price we pay.